Hi there and welcome to Hegarty Maths for another video from Mr. Hegarty here. We're doing a GCSE Maths Higher Revision video and it's video 29 in our series on securing a B and C at GCSE. Now in this video we're doing averages from tables and frequency polygons. Just to remind you how these videos work, I'm going to briefly introduce the topic by way of an example. You take the notes down from that, you write everything I write down and commit that to memory either on a revision card or on the notes that you can print out from the website. Then you pause the video and you try all the exam questions on the topic I've just taught and then you play the video and check your answers. If you're logged into the site, you can track your progress by pressing red if you got lots wrong, amber if you got only a tiny bit wrong, and green if you got it all right, so you can track your progress. Right, let's begin. So here's a typical question. Now, we're going to copy everything down I do here. Let me just explain a little bit before I get into it. There's a couple of things they can ask you to do. They can ask you to work out all the three types of averages from this table of information. And the next thing I'm going to show you how to do, they're going to ask you to draw a frequency polygon from this table. And I'll explain both of those concepts in a second. So let's deal with the averages first. They can ask you the following. Work out the modal group. That just means the mode, but you would write it in terms of the group. The next one they would ask you is the group that the median lies in. And the last one, they would ask an estimate for the mean. Now, before I go into this, let's just explain what this table means. It says it gives us information about the lengths of branches on a bush. So what it's saying is that there were 20 branches that had a length between 0 and 10. There were 12 branches that had a length between 10 and 20. 10 branches that had a length between 20 and 30, 8 branches between 30 and 40, 6 branches between 40 and 50. Okay, so that's what the table's telling us. It's not giving us each individual length, it's just saying that there were 20 in this range here, in between 0 and 10. We don't know what exactly they were. Okay, so first things first, when you work out the mode, it's usually 1 easy mark. When you're asked to work out the median, it's usually 2 marks, but very easy. And the mean is usually 3 or 4 marks because it's a lot more involved. So let me show you how to do these. Firstly, the modal group or the mode. Now this is nice and easy. It's the group that comes up the most. Which of these comes up the most? Well, 20 is the most time something comes up. So this here must be the modal group, the group that comes up the most. So 0 less than or equal to L less than 10. You can just state it like that. 1 easy mark. Okay, how do you work out the group? So which of these groups does the median lie in? Well, let's think about median. We've done median in cumulative frequency and in data before. The median is the position, the answer for the middle number. Now, the question is how many branches have we got here? So the first thing you should do is add up your frequencies. 20, add 12, add 10, add 8, add 6, add 0, and you've got a total of 56 branches. Okay, now the question is, where's the middle? If there are 56 branches going from the smallest to the biggest, where does the middle happen? Well, the middle happens at the 28th place. Okay, because half of 56, if we did 56 divided by 2, we get 28. Now 28 isn't the median, it's the 28th place. And the question is, where does the 28th place happen here? Well, because there are 20 here, the 28th one isn't in this one here, so it's not here, but it must be here. It's 8 into this group. Okay, because we've got 20 already and another 8 will get me to the 28th place. So it happens in this particular group here. So we would say it's 10 less than or equal to L less than 20 for 2 marks. The reason we get 2 marks is 1, we have to work out the total and half it, and then we have to see where it lies in here. Okay, lastly, an estimate for the mean. Now this is the one that requires the most work. What you have to do is follows. You have to create yourself another column called the midpoint column. And we're going to use the middle number halfway between 0 and 10, which is 5. We're going to use the middle number halfway between 10 and 20, which is 15. The middle number between 20 and 30, which is 25. The middle number between 30 and 40, which is 35. The middle number between 40 and 50, which is 45. And the middle number between 50 and 60, which is 55. Okay, that's the first thing. You probably get a mark for that. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to have another column where we multiply. We're going to multiply the frequency by this. So we're going to multiply these together, these two last columns together. So we're going to get our calculator out. We're going to do 20 multiplied by 5. And we get ourselves 100. So we're going to put here 100 in this column. Then we're going to do 12 multiplied by 15, 12 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 15, and I'm going to get 180. Then I'm going to do 10 multiplied by 25, 250. What am I going to multiply here? Well, 8 by 35, so I'm going to do 8 multiplied by 35, which is 280. Then I'm going to do 6 multiplied by 45, 6 multiplied by 45 is 270. And then I'm going to do 0 multiplied by 55, which is 0. Okay, having done that, I add up these numbers. So I'm going to do 100 plus 180 plus 250 plus 280 plus 270. And I'm going to write that total down, which is 1080. Now, my mean, the approximation for the mean is always this total, the total of that column when we times these two columns, so it's 1080, and we divide it by the total frequency, the total number of branches, which was 56. Okay, so we do 1080 divided by 56, and we get ourselves 19.22. Let's round it to 19.3 to 1 decimal place. Okay, and this one's usually worth 4 marks. You can see why. Firstly, the midpoint column 1 mark, then to do the multiply 2 mark, to add up the column 3 mark, and to do that 1080 divided by your total number of branches would be your 4th mark. Okay, so they're the 3 averages you can be asked. The last thing you can be asked to do is draw what's called a frequency polygon. Now, here's the question. So it says draw the frequency polygon for this information, for the information that we've got in the table. Now, I find the easiest way to do this is to draw a bar chart and join up the middle of the bars with lines. Now, I'll show you what I mean by this in a second. So, firstly, between 0 and 10, the width of the bar is between 0 and 10, and it's 20 high. So we go between 0 and 10 along here, and we go 20 high. So we're going to draw ourselves a rectangle up to 20, and it's between 0 and 10. Now that there represents this one. Now we're going to go between 10 and 20, and we're going to go 12 high. So we're going to draw a box between 10 and 20 and 12 high. So 10, 11, 12, like that. Okay, then we're going to go between 20 and 30, 10 high. So we're going to go between 20 and 30, 10 high, between 20 and 30, only 10 high this time. And then we're going to go between 30 and 40, and we're going to go 8 high. So we're going to go between 30 and 40, and we're only going to go 8 high, so 8 to there. And then we're going to go between 40 and 50 and 6 high, and we're going to go 40 and 50 and 6 high. And the last one, we're going between 50 and 60 and none high. So between 50 and 60 and none high. Now, that isn't it. It's not just a bar chart. You must remember, it's not just a bar chart. If you forget this bit, you'll get none of the marks. This is where you get your marks. You join up the middle of the bars. You identify the middle of the bars, like that. You have to identify the middle of the bars and use a different colour for this. So let's get a red out, and you join the dots, the middle of each bar, you join them like this. And that, the red there, is what's called your frequency polygon. So the reason I'm showing you the bars is just to make it easier for you. You don't get the marks for the bars, but you get the marks for your frequency polygon as follows. So that's everything you need to be able to do in this. It's time for you to pause the video and try the questions. If you've printed out the sheets from the website, you can just work through. Otherwise, pause when I say, and then I'll go through it in 5 seconds for each one. So here's the first. Okay, going through this, let's read the question. So Bob asked 40 friends how many times it took to get to work. So 3 of the friends said between 0 and 10 minutes. 8 of the friends said between 0 and 20. 11 of the friends said between 20 and 30. 9 of the friends said between 30 and 40. And lastly, 9 of the friends said between 40 and 50. Work out, and this is for 4 marks, an estimate for the mean. So this was the third one I showed you, the hardest one. Do you remember what we had to do? We had to have a column called the midpoint, which was halfway between these. So halfway between 0 and 10 is 5, between 10 and 20 is 15, between 20 and 30 is 25, between 30 and 40 is 35, and between 40 and 50 is 45. Then we had to multiply our frequencies by that. So 3 multiplied by 5, so 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. 8 multiplied by 15, 8 multiplied by 15 is 120. 11 multiplied by 25, 11 multiplied by 25 is equal to 275. 9 multiplied by 35, 9 multiplied by 35 is 315. And the last one was 9 multiplied by 45, which is 405. Now, I got 1 mark for that column, 1 mark for doing the times it. To get my 2 other marks, I say that my mean is the total of this column, which we need to work out, divided by the total of this column. So we're going to add up those numbers. So 405 plus 315 plus 275 plus 120 plus 15. So it's going to be 1130 divided by the total of that column. Now hopefully if you're switched on, you know the total of that without counting. If you look at the question, it says 40. So let's check, but let's just check that's actually true. So 3 plus 8 plus 11 plus 9 plus 9. Indeed, it's 40. So what we're going to do is this big number, 1130 divided by 40. Calculator out, 1130 divided by 40. And we get an answer of 28.25. So 28.25. So 28.25 is our answer. 4 marks. Next question, pause, I'll go through in 5 seconds. Okay, first part, they said information about 40 children. Okay, so how much TV they watched. Now the total, remember, of this will be 40 clearly. You know that because it says it in the question, but also if you checked, 3 plus 8 plus 7 plus 10 plus 12 is 40. Now, here's a slightly different. Find the class interval that contains the median. Median means middle. Now, we've got 40 children, so the middle happens in the 20th place, and we've got to see which of these it lands in. 3 are here, so 3 are here. If you add the 3 and 8, you're 11. If you add the 11 and the 7, you're in 18. And if you add the 18 and the 10, you're at 28. Now, the 20th person must happen here because 18 children have happened up to here. The 20th must happen in here. So we write it must be in this one here. 3 less than or equal to 8 less than 4. We write that. Okay, and the last one is an estimate for the mean. We'll always get asked these ones for 4 marks. So remember what we have to do. We have to have a midpoint column. Halfway between 0 and 1 is 0.5. Halfway between 1 and 2 is 1.5. Halfway between 2 and 3 is 2.5. Between 3 and 4 is 3.5. Between 4 and 5 is 5.5. Then we're going to multiply these numbers together. So calculator out, 3 multiplied by 0.5 is going to be 1.5 here, so this is 1.5. 8 multiplied by 1.5, 8 multiplied by 1.5 is 12. 7 multiplied by 2.5, 7 multiplied by 2.5 is 17.5. 10 multiplied by 3.5, so 10 multiplied by 3.5 is 35. And 12 multiplied by 4.5, 12 multiplied by 4.5 is equal to 54. Okay, so we're going to total up that column. We're going to total up this, which we know is 40, and we're going to do the big divided by the small. So 1.5 plus 12 plus 17.5 plus 35 plus 54. We're going to get ourselves 120. So our mean, an estimate for our mean is 120 divided by 40, 120 divided by 40, which if we get our calculator, 120 divided by 40 is 3. So 3 hours is an approximation for our mean. Next question, pause the video, have a go, and I'll work through in 5 seconds. This one you've got to draw a frequency polygon as well. Okay, going through in 5. Okay, it says here's some temperature for a town for 50 days. Okay, so I know that the total here is going to add up to 50. Okay, work out the modal class. The mode is which temperature happens the most. It's clearly in this group here, so we're going to write 20 less than T less than or equal to 24. Careful not to write 21. That's the number of the most things that happen, but this is the modal class interval. Then it says calculate an estimate for the mean. We do our same old thing, so let's do the same old stuff we're used to now. So what we do, I'm going to do this super fast. We're going to do the midpoint, and halfway between 8 and 12 is 10, because that's 4 long, so it's 2 extra. Halfway between here is 14, halfway between here is 18, halfway between here is 22, and halfway between here is 26. Then we're going to multiply these numbers together. So 6 multiplied by 10, 6 multiplied by 10 is 60. 8 multiplied by 14, 8 multiplied by 14 is 112. 13 multiplied by 18, 13 multiplied by 18 is 234, 234. 21 multiplied by 22, 21 multiplied by 22 is 462. And 2 multiplied by 26, 2 multiplied by 26 is 52. So then for the mean, we're going to total up this and we're going to divide it by the total of this. So we're going to add those up, 52, add 462, add 234, add 112, add 60. So it's 920. So we're going to do 920 divided by 50. On a calculator, 920 divided by 50, and it gives us the answer 18.4. 18.4. Now we're going to draw our frequency polygon. Do you remember how I said to do it? Draw the bar charts and join the dots between the tips, the middle of the tops of the bars. You must do that bit. So between 8 and 12, we're 6 high. So let's draw this in. Between 8 and 12, we're 6 high. So because 10 squares are worth 5, each 2 squares are worth 1. So between 8 and 12, we go to 5, and another 2 up here to 6. Between 12 and 16, we go 8 high. So between 12 and 16, we go 8 high. So this here is 5, 6, 7, and 8. Between 16 and 20, we go 13 high. So between 16 and 20, here's 10, 11, 12, and 13, like that. Then we're going to go between 20 and 24, 21 high. So between 20 and 24, here we are to 20 and 21. And lastly, we're going to go between 24 and 28, only 2 high. So 24 and 28, we only go up 1 and another 2. Now remember, you don't get any marks for this. I said you only get the marks if you join the middles of the bars up with a straight ruler. It's got to be a straight ruler. So, and a different colour pen as well to make it clear. So between here and here, there, there, and there. That's our frequency polygon, and we've got ourselves the last 2 marks. We've got 7 in this question. Okay, and the very last question here, off you go, have a go there, just a frequency polygon. I'm going to go through in 5 seconds. Right, going through this is we've got a frequency table about the times it took some office workers to get to the office one day. It says draw a frequency polygon. So we're going to draw the bars and then do the middle of the bars. So between 0 and 10 we're going to go 4 high. So between 0 and 10 we're only going to go 4 high. Each little square is worth 1 this time. Between 10 and 20, 8 high. Between 10 and 20, 8 high. Between 20 and 30, 14 high. Between 20 and 30, 14 high. Between 30 and 40, 16 high, so between 30 and 40, 16 high. Between 40 and 50, 6 high, so 40 and 50, 6 high. And between 50 and 60, 2 high, like that. Remember, you don't get any marks for that. You only get the marks if you join up the middle of the bars in a frequency polygon. A frequency polygon. So there to there, there to there, there to there, there to there, and there to there. And that's it for 2 marks. It says lastly, write down the modal class, which group came up the most. Clearly you can see that it's in this one, so this group came up the most. We write 30 less than t less than or equal to 40. And we're done. That's everything for this video. Thanks loads for watching.